Hi, I'm Laura McGath with the Appold Planetarium at Lourdes University. Today I'd like to talk to you about the edge of space. Now, if you go outside and look up during the day, you should see the sun, and hopefully at night you'll see the moon and the stars. And we always think of those things as being in space. But what about clouds? Have you ever wondered where space actually starts? How far away is the edge of space?
We think about the planets as being out in space. So if there were creatures living on another planet, such as Mercury, we'd say they were space aliens because they live in space. But then, couldn't the citizens of Mercury also say the same thing about us?
The pilot of a glider once reported seeing a butterfly at 11,000 feet. That's more than 2 miles straight up. Birds can fly even higher when they're migrating. At Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain at 5.5 miles, the Himalayan bar-headed goose was spotted flying overhead. Did these birds and butterflies reach space?
You could say that space starts where it's too high for airplanes to fly. The Fédération Aéronautique Internationale is the world governing body for air sports and certification of aviation world records. It defines the edge of space here at 100 kilometers or 62 miles up, based largely on the work of Hungarian physicist Theodor von Karman. He determined that above 52 miles, the atmosphere was too thin to support aeronautical flight. So if you can't fly an airplane higher than 52 miles, then 62 miles is definitely in space. Plus, 100 kilometers is an easy number to remember.
However, not everyone agrees with 62 miles. Our country's Air Force, NASA, and others use 50 miles as the boundary. So according to them, if you go higher than 50 miles, then you are an astronaut.
Airplanes fly in both the troposphere and the stratosphere. The next layer, the mesosphere, is thick enough to cause incoming meteors to heat up, so any shooting stars you see will be in this layer. Karman's limit for airplane flight is in the thermosphere, so many people say space starts in this layer. But Earth's atmosphere actually extends much further, over 600 miles up. Most satellites are in this upper layer called the exosphere. If we decide that space starts where Earth's atmosphere ends, then the International Space Station at 250 miles would not be in space. By this definition, only people who have traveled to the moon have actually gone into space. So for most purposes, we define space as starting somewhere between 50 and 60 miles up. That's about the distance between Toledo and Detroit. The definition matters because countries control the airspace above them, but space has been declared free for exploration and use by everyone. Thousands of satellites currently orbit Earth, and more are being planned. If you want to launch a new satellite to fly, say, 55 miles up, some countries will say your satellite is in space, but others might see it as an act of military aggression. From GPS to weather tracking, satellites are incredibly useful. Useful not only for life here on Earth, but as we look deeper into space as well. Thanks for watching. There's a lot of space to explore, and we hope you'll explore with the Appold Planetarium again.